you coming back next week. Yeah, amen. That is sister. I had to pray for him last week, man, half the people off. So let's pray he gets back real soon. He said yesterday he was still a little pretty sore, so he wasn't going to try it today. So he's hoping to be back next week. As we all are. And after this first song, we'll be praying a whole lot more. So we're not sure about it. Page 216. Anybody that knows this is real, they'll sing real loud, because me and Zach are going to trip up. I'm going to wait on okay. I'll think about it. You're probably right. 216, great is thy faithfulness. In case any of y'all don't know, Katie is Miss Lula's son. I think he's our only visitor this morning, so we can call him out. Well, no, here's another one over here. But she's not a visitor. She's been around enough, we don't count her a visitor anymore.
If you call me out, that's the first time that ever happened at this church.
Now, your mama looked like she didn't believe that. All right, our offertory this morning is going to be 220, page 220. Stand with us, please. Just when I need Him, Jesus is near. Just when I falter, just when I fear, ready to help me, ready to cheer. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most, Jesus is near to comfort and cheer. Just when I need Him most, just when I need Him, Jesus is true. Never forsaking all the way through. Giving for burden, pleasure anew. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Jesus is near to comfort and cheer. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him, Jesus is strong. Bearing my burdens all the day long. For my sorrows, giving a song. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Jesus is near to comfort and cheer. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him, He is my all. Answering when on Him I call. Tenderly watching, lest I should fall. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Just when I need Him most. Jesus is near to comfort and cheer. Just when I need Him most. Brother Tommy, would you please? Well, if he can play like that, I guess we know who messed that first song up. It was Mark. He's not here. And I forgot something else that Brother Mark never forgets. Anybody got a birthday this week? Skip that on the birthdays. No birthdays? Anniversaries? Phew, I got mine. I don't get in trouble for leaving anybody out. Now this next song, 428 in the Garden. And everybody knows it. That's Brother Corey's favorite. So, and if you wasn't here earlier, Brother Coy's in Vanderbilt. He's going to be going through open heart surgery this week. So let's sing this morning, Brother Coy. 428. 63. Page 63. I stand amazed in the presence. And I don't think we can sing that sitting down. What do you think? Well, preaching days we won't count because the preacher's sermon is about 45 minutes this morning. So. Page 63. As you turn to Mark chapter 7, you might have saw the title of my message in the bulletin called well played. So let me just explain that real quick as you're turning there. Well played. What do I mean by well played? Well, or the original title was going to be well done, because well done is actually found in the text, as you're going to see this morning. Well done. But in my mind, I was sitting eating dinner the other night. Old West Steakhouse. Y'all eat there yet? Oh, y'all missed a treat. That place is amazing. But I'm sitting there eating my dinner, and this sermon's always it was kind of in the back of my head thinking about it. And I got to think, I can't use well done because that has a negative connotation. We're Baptists, and we all know anything past medium rare is just ruined. Right? So anyway, I got to think, well, what could I replace well done with? But how about well played? How many of us have ever had to give that compliment because we were beaten by somebody with superior intelligence, superior skill, they're very athletic, and they played well because of that? Well, they secured a victory. Now, we've oftentimes been told, hey, that was well played. And we've had to give that compliment at times too, right? Well, that was well played. Beat my socks off. So we understand that is a positive affirmation. Well played. Well, if you think about that, and we're talking about the life of Jesus, I mean, clearly, in this game called life, and unfortunately, it's a game with some very real consequences, depending on what we do with Jesus. When we talk about Jesus, Jesus was the one that came, lived a sinless life, died, was hung on a cross and died, shed his blood for us, that his victory over sin and the devil will be forever secure. Folks, that's well played. Amen. It was done perfect. And only he could have done so. So, well, we're going to look back at another day in his life. You remember where we left him last time? Last Sunday we were talking about it, and he was in this region called between Tyre and Sidon, talking to this woman, and it was a Gentile woman, and she was talking about the dogs being fed with crumbs from the table, right? So, we want to continue on our story. If you would, we'll stand for the reading of the Word, and we're going to read this. What transpires next? And as we read this, you may be thinking, well, I've seen this many times, I've read it before. It's a big deal. What is it about this passage? But understand, Mark is such a short book, and God never wastes a word. If it's in the Bible, it's important for us to read, think about, and reflect. Why is it here? And by the time we're finished today, you're going to be looking at this story with completely different eyes. Many of you may be going, wow, I've never really thought about that before, but wow. Let's look at it. Mark chapter 7, starting at verse 31. And departing from the region of Tyre and Sidon, he came through the midst of the region of Decapolis to the Sea of Galilee. Then they brought to him one who was deaf and having an impediment in his speech, and they begged him to put his hand on him. And he took him aside from the multitude. He put his fingers in his ears, and he spat and touched his tongue. Then looking up to heaven, he sighed, and he said, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. Immediately his ears were opened, and the impediment of his tongue was loosed, and he spoke plainly. Then he commanded them that they should tell no one, but the more he commanded them, the more widely they proclaimed him. And they were astonished beyond measure, saying, He has done all things well. He makes both the deaf to hear and the mute to speak. Jack, you want to pray for me?
Heavenly Father, what a blessing it is that we can come to your house today, God, and sing your praises with song, with just opening the Word and just praising you, God. We thank you for just allowing us to gather here to give our petitions to you, God. You've heard our prayer requests. You know each one. You know the ones that are hurting, the ones in the hospital, the lost people that are on our hearts, God. May you just have your way in each of those situations. May your will be done. But God, just fill those who are hurting with comfort. God, just continue to show your love like you always do. We thank you so much for your unconditional love and grace that you just shower upon us when we least deserve it. And God, right now as we move forward into the sermon time, God, I pray that for Brother Tim, that as he brings the word, he speaks what you would have him to speak, God. You hide him behind the cross so that you may be glorified and holy, God. Just protect him from the enemy. Protect our minds from any distraction, God, that we can focus on you and you alone today. God, use the words that Brother Tim is speaking to penetrate not just our ears,
So, anybody just on the surface see anything new about that passage? We've been going through Mark, we've been studying all his works, his sayings, and many of us may read this passage and the first thing that comes to mind is that old saying when somebody invites us somewhere and we really don't want to go and we're thinking, yeah, been there, done that, have the t-shirt. Right? I mean, was there anything in here new? Jesus departs, he goes somewhere else, they bring the sick to him, he heals them, all is well. And Jerry thinks I'm going to stand up here and talk about that for 45 minutes. I'll try to finish in 45 minutes. I can't make any promises, Jerry. At least I didn't bring my phone book today. It says he departed from the region of Tyre and Sidon. Of course, that's where he was when he moved that young lady, that lady's daughter last week, as we were talking about this. He says he came through the midst of the regions of Decapolis to the Sea of Galilee. Now, after I talked about Tyre and Sidon last week, did y'all go back and actually look at the map of Palestine and the life of Jesus? Now, you can read this, but unless you look at a map, you may not actually realize what's going on. Jesus left Tyre and Sidon to go back to the Sea of Galilee, and he went through Decapolis to get there. Does that say anything to anybody? Let me give you a contemporary illustration. That would be like us saying today, I've got to go to Jackson, but I'm going to go through Memphis to get there. Or I want to go to Memphis and I got to connect in Atlanta to get there. And if anybody's ever flown, you know that's entirely plausible there, right? Because we just don't think clearly. But Jesus says, hey, I'm going back to the Sea of Galilee, but I'm going through Decapolis. Now, why in the world would he want to do that? He's leaving a Gentile nation, going to walk through Gentile areas to another Gentile region. I thought he was the Jewish Messiah. He's sent to the Jews, right? Well, the Jews are already at a point in his life where they're starting to reject him. They're turning a deaf ear to him. And Jesus, he didn't come just for the Jews anyway. He came for all men. If he didn't, we wouldn't be sitting here this morning poring over his word, trying to extract precious gems. What is he saying to me today, right? Because he loved us all. We're here. So he's going to this region, and leaving where he was and going all the way around the Sea of Galilee, all the way down to this big region called Decapolis, it would take about 8 months of walking. You know, they didn't have cars, right? Y'all realize they walked everywhere. And this is the only gospel that records this particular incident, and it's recording an incident that would take 8 months. That is 20% of his entire ministry time on earth. Completely unrecorded. What in the world was he doing? Doesn't say. But I suspect he was teaching his apostles. He was building them up. He was encouraging them because they were going to be left here for a lifetime of ministry, not long after he was gone. And he also knows that, hey, when he gets back to Israel, the heat of persecution is going to be turned up drastically. And in other words, somebody's going over the knob and going from simmer to high heat. Because he's going back to Jerusalem, he's going to be persecuted, and he's going to be crucified. And he knows that. He knows the work is short. And these guys can learn all they can. And so maybe that's why he had this about an 8-month excursion, where not a whole lot of his ministry is talking about. And then it says he goes to Decapolis. And not only did our passage say he went to Decapolis, but it also said he was well received. There's a fact, it says they brought them this definite, but down at the bottom it said, and did you catch this? They were astonished beyond measure, and he has done all things well. In other words, well played. You may be thinking, well, what did he do different than he did anywhere else? Well, in order to make this story really good and just jump out in your minds, we've got to go back a couple of chapters. It's amazing how quick we are as humans to forget what we've studied in the past. But let's go back a couple of chapters. When was the last time he was in this region? Anybody know? He'd gone to a specific area within Decapolis called Gadara. He healed one person, he cast thousands of demons out of him, and what did the rest of the people do? You need to leave. We don't want you here. get back in your boat, cross back this body of water, and get back to your side. You are not welcome. Now, isn't that interesting that he leaves Tyre and Sidon and comes back to an area where he wasn't welcome before? Why do you think the change of heart is? Why is all of a sudden he seems to be welcome, and not only is he welcome, but he's got ministry there. They're going to bring somebody that's deaf or mute. In other words, they're going to see a miracle. There's somebody that needs healing. Why the difference? If we go back to chapter 5, just real quick. The demon-possessed man, in chapter 5, verses 19, the demon-possessed man was wanting to go with Jesus, but Jesus had said to him, he wouldn't permit him, and he said to him, go home to your friends and tell them what great things the Lord has done for you and how he has had compassion on you. In other words, Jesus might have left the door. They might have said, go, we don't want you here. We can't afford for all our hogs to die off. But Jesus left a witness. One witness in the whole region. I mean, there were others that witnessed it, but there was one that experienced it. And when you got one that's experienced Jesus, that's going to tell the world, and you've got others that can cooperate, yeah, I saw that. I know that. And folks, you know where we drop the ball? We don't share with the world what Jesus has done for us. And if we don't share with the world what Jesus has done for us, then that also robs somebody, witness of the opportunity, saying, yeah, I knew that person before they knew Jesus. He's really done it. He's done the remarkable. And because we don't do that, Jesus is not glorified. God doesn't get the glory. But in our passage today, Jesus comes back to this area where he was thrown out, and he's welcomed with open arms. Why? Because the people have come to realize who he is and what he can do. That's the power of a witness. And this is what I call well played. Jesus might have said, okay, I'll leave. But you know what? He also knew he was coming back. There was no reason in the world for him to go back there, was it? They had already rejected him, but you know what? God is a God of second chances. And if you're as bad a person as I was, thank God he's a God for second chances, and third chances, and fourth chances, and fifth chances. That he keeps on and keeps on and keeps on until he gets his way. You know, they rejected him. It would have been well within his right to say, okay, die in your sins. I'll go to somebody that's a little bit more accepting. Somebody who will take me, and somebody who will understand, somebody who will listen. He gives him a second chance. He goes back, and the word of that witness has gotten out. The people are waiting. They anticipate he's coming, and it says that he brought to him one that was deaf and had an impediment of speech. Now, Zach can tell you with these deaf folks, the impediment of speech, these two often go together, because if a person can't hear, they can't hear themselves speak. And if a person can't hear themselves give some kind of verbal, they're just not going to be able to talk. And so, I mean, the scripture doesn't say he was born deaf. It doesn't say it was an accident that he went deaf. It just says that he was deaf. And here's the good thing about something else sweet about this passage. This man, in his infirmity, in his ailment, in his handicap, had friends willing to help him and bring him to Jesus. And I say that because you know what? The deaf man didn't hear about Jesus. The deaf man ain't hearing anything. I mean, when it comes to the handicap, being deaf may be one of the worst handicaps a person can have. You want to know why that is? It's not anything on their end. It's on the people around them's end. When we see somebody that's blind, we're quick to offer a hand or to step out of the way, to give them room, to give them a way. If we see somebody in a wheelchair, we move, right? When we see those needs, but deafness is not a handicap that we can see. And oftentimes, we get frustrated trying to communicate with a deaf person. I mean, there's that, as the saying goes, a communication barrier. They can't, sometimes we don't know how to express what we need to get across to them. And oftentimes, we don't understand what they're trying to say to us. Zach could communicate with one, person knows sign language. So it takes a common ground there, a common way of communication. And if, Zach can communicate with him, but hey, sign language, that person may be trying to tell me something. I'm just lost as I do. I'm thinking, he's swatting flies? I don't see it. Where is it? So you understand what I'm saying? It's very frustrating. And not only is it frustrating for me, it's also very frustrating for a deaf person. And oftentimes, they get really withdrawn from society more so than any other handicap. So, what an appropriate handicap to use in this passage. They bring it to Jesus. But you know what? There's one handicap worse than that. There's one handicap worse than that. And I'll tell you why. You know how many handicaps you're going to see in heaven? None. This deaf person in life is going to be hearing the angels sing their choruses in heaven. Those that lame and are paralyzed are going to be dancing on streets of gold to the song being sung in heaven, right? And those that are blind, they're going to be sitting back and watching it all going, wow, I can see it. But if you die in your sin, completely unsaved, and have rejected Jesus, you've given yourself a handicap from which you will never recover for all eternity. Because there is no coming back from that. You can have the most athletic body, all the skills, you die in your sins, you die with the worst handicap in the world. And once again, just like this, Jesus is the only cure for that handicap. They bring, and fortunately for this man, this deaf man, he's got friends. Everybody needs friends, right? And that's why we need to be friends. Oftentimes when we see people that are handicapped, what do we have a tendency to do? Oh, let me go this way. I need to go over here and talk to Jared. When that first comes out here and sits down. We have a tendency to ignore things when we're uncomfortable around. Maybe it's just human. I don't know. But it happens. But Jesus, he always had special attention to give to those that were hurting, those that were sick, those that were ailing, those that were handicapped. And this person has friends who cared enough for them to say, hey, we know of something you need. Oh, you haven't heard about this, man. You couldn't have, but we know you need to meet him, and we're going to drag you over here and introduce you to Jesus. He says they brought him, this man who was deaf had this impediment, and they begged him to put his hand on him. They knew he could do it. If Jesus could cast out thousands of demons out of one man, surely he can cure one man of one problem. So what Scripture, and maybe they were wanting to see, there's this crowd there, and they're wanting to see, hey, this is going to be a miracle, this is going to be good, bring that deaf guy over here. Jesus takes him aside. Did you catch that in the passage? He takes him aside. In other words, he gets more away from the crowd and says, what's going to happen with this guy is unique. It's miraculous. It's the most wonderful thing in the world for this man's life, and you're not going to see it. And why would he do that? First of all, he's not going to make this man a public spectacle. This man is probably embarrassed enough because people are dragging him up there because he's dead and mute. What are y'all doing? Leave me alone. He don't understand. Jesus takes him aside. And we read, this is one of those passages we read and think, oh my goodness, that was just gross. It says he spat, and then he touched this man's tongue, right? I mean, in our minds today, we're thinking, couldn't he have done anything any different? How many of you thought that? Be honest. Why would he do that? That's gross. But you know what? Scripture is full of stories with Jesus dealing with people one-on-one. And dealing with people one-on-one, they all had a unique way that Jesus was going to deal with them. For one, he told them, hey, go wash in the pool. For another, he spat the dirt and made a paste and what? Stuck it in his eyes. I mean, it was like something new and different each and every single time. Well, why do you think he would need this particular illustration? Why would he do it this way in his Bible? Stick his fingers in this man's ears and then spit and touch his tongue. Zach, what's he doing? He's communicating with a deaf person what his intentions are. I'm going to hit you with your ears and I'm going to loose your tongue. faith. He's saying, I'm going to help you. We're going to open them ears. Jesus is starting a spark of faith in this man. If Jesus had just touched him and just boom, all of a sudden he was hearing and speaking again, he might not have really given Jesus the credit for that. Because Jesus had told him, though, hey, your ears, they're fixing to be open and your tongue is fixing to be loosed. Jesus illustrated what he was fixing to do the only way he could, so that deaf man would understand it. So understand, what he did was for the deaf guy that he was fixing to heal, and not for us. The story for us is for our own edification, for us to realize, hey, Jesus deals with us one-on-one. Now, I understand we're Baptists and we know that we've been bought by the blood, that Jesus died on the cross, the gospel is for each and every one of us, and we all walk through that same door. There's only one way to salvation, there's only one way to God. Only one name under heaven given, which by men which can be saved, and that's the Lord Jesus Christ. But the way Jesus deals with each and every one of us is completely personal and unique. What he's done in my life, he may not do in yours. And what he's doing in your life, you probably never dreamed of having me go through. He deals with us in the way that we need him most. The deaf guy needed to hear. The mute needed to speak. Jesus knows our needs. He knows our struggles. He knows our weaknesses. But he also knows how to light that fire of faith and start building it up in us to trust him. And so we see this bridge bringing this deaf guy to Jesus. We see Jesus pulling him aside because he didn't want to make a spectacle of it. I just want to minister to you. You know what else that says to this deaf guy? This is all about you. I'm concerned for you. I love you. This is Jesus telling us through this story about that personal relationship. I could stand up here all day long and say, Jesus loves you. But you know what? Nothing speaks of Jesus' love to you more powerfully than Jesus' personal and intimate presence in your life, if you will allow it. The deaf guy didn't understand maybe what his friends were doing. But their friends were concerned enough and knew enough to get him to Jesus. One of the worst things I see here is Jesus tells them, hey, he's speaking, he's hearing, don't tell anybody about this. Now, why in the world did they go after being told, hey, don't tell anybody, don't let this get out? It says they were astonished beyond measure. He has done all things well. He makes the deaf to hear, the mute to speak, and it says that he commanded them, don't do this. But the more he told them that, the more widely they proclaimed it. Maybe we've been preaching the gospel all wrong. Maybe our instructions were wrong to begin with. Because in all of the gospels, what's Jesus told us to do? Go into all the world and preach the gospel. He gave us the tools and our orders in Acts 1:8. Go! Go to your cities, go to your towns, go to your states, go to the far ends of the earth, preach the gospel. And what do? Nothing. Keep it to ourselves. Maybe he should have played this reverse psychology we do with our kids, right? Don't tell the world what happened in your life. Maybe we've been like these folks in the cabins, just told everybody. Because how many have been told by staff that to stay out of the cookie jar, where'd you go? So Jesus tells us to go into all the world and say, no, I'm not going to do that. What do you want? This is just an amazing story. Jesus is showing himself, dealing with a person uniquely, ministering to them, and then maybe encourage the folks, hey, maybe he said, don't tell anybody this, but when he said that, he was winking at them. Or give them a smile, knowing that they could not keep what they witnessed silence. If you've truly experienced Jesus in your life, there's no way you can hold that in. Tell somebody, tell the world, tell everybody. Let folks know what's going on, because you know what? Jesus can't be hidden. When he works, that word's going to get out. If Jesus is in the house, people are going to know. going to be those sinners that needs the Lord Jesus. And he says, right at the bottom, these folks that have completely rejected him, brought him back with open arms. And the last thing our passage says here, he done all things well. Isn't that amazing? Jesus initially looks like he's rejected by the whole region, planted a seed of hope that flourished so that when he come back, they were ready and willing and waiting and wanting what he had. How is that for well played? That was smooth. That's just smooth. Only Jesus could come up with that. Only Jesus. In other words, he set the trap and led them right into it. But you know what? He does the same with us as well. You know, we can all look back and be like, I look back over my life, I know I see a time without him, a long time without him, where I was just kind of like the Israelites in the time of the judges. I just do whatever I want to do, whatever was right in my own eyes. And if you didn't like it, that's just too bad. But Jesus makes a difference. Jesus lets us go, and then he just keeps leading us right into the way he wants us to go. Right into that track. Constantly coming back to us, giving us those opportunities one more time. As John will write in Revelations, he stands at the door and knocks. And oftentimes it's given out of context a little bit, but the illustration is appropriate. Jesus never leaves anybody themselves. Jesus is not in somebody else's life because they've left him out. Not the other way around. Is Jesus in your life today? I mean, really, in your life. I know most of us sitting here, we've been in church all our life. We've been down the aisle. We've said our prayers. We've been baptized. We've been saved. But is Jesus really in our lives? Can we really go out and share with the world what Jesus has done for me? Or have we kind of reverted back to doing just whatever we wanted to do and only going to Jesus when something drastic happens and we've hit rock bottom again and we need some hope, we need an anchor, we need something to hang on to? Don't misunderstand me. Jesus will always be the anchor. When you cry out to him, he's always going to answer. But folks, understand this. He wants you to accept him. Not only in those hard moments, but each and every day of your entire life. If you walk in a close communion with Christ, everything else just kind of falls into place. Those long falls at the bottom aren't so far down. And coming back up is not as hard as it should be. Are you truly walking with the Lord as you should be today? Or is today the day to come back to him? Is it a day for salvation? And maybe you're here and say, maybe it's a day of rededication. Maybe you just need to say, Lord, I haven't surrendered my all, and today I'm going to. Whatever your needs, we're going to have a song of invitation. And again, it's God's invitation to you. It's not my invitation. It's God's invitation to you. Come and talk to him. Come and spend some time with him at his feet. If you have a need, we're going to stand and have our song of invitation. And whatever you need, the altar's open. Father, we love you. We give you the praise and the glory and honor today. We're thankful for the scripture stories you've given us. Lord, help us to always read them with an open mind and see the whole story, not focus just on the immediate details. Father, you died for me. You died for each and every one of us. In trust in you, we can be saved. We can live eternally with you. And just like our passage today says, Father, we have to give you the praise and the glory and say, oh, Jesus, well played. We love you. We praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.